Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for all the comments yesterday and being part of this weather community. Let's dive into this. This is Ernesto. As expected, it is getting stronger. It's going to continue to get stronger. It is on track, so I want to get into the impacts. I want to zoom down into the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and then break down the northeastern Caribbean and the southeastern Caribbean. It's been a rocky overnight and morning for a lot of us with these rain bands moving in with this intensifying system. So I want to look at the winds and the rain outlook, the flood potential, which is very, very high with this. And then I want to get into the when you need to be in place for this system, and then look way down the road. Bermuda, Canada, I want to get into that as well as we look kind of long term. I do this channel for safety, so I want to also look ahead at what's next. So here's Puerto Rico, British U.S. Virgin Islands. We've had heavy rain out times. Dominica, we've had some rain and storms overnight. Martinique, we've had that. Guadeloupe moving right overhead. That stayed right on track with the heavier weather. When you see these brighter colors, this is the satellite. That is showing me, or even the deeper reds, taller clouds. That's going to be stronger storms, correlate to stronger storms and very heavy rain. Antigua, Bermuda, we're going to see a lot of this wrapping in throughout the day. Saba, Statia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, same thing. Keep me posted in the comments. Please take it easy if you can today. Heavy rain, that flood potential. It is there. Now, on the southern end of this, as expected, those feeder bands kind of wrapping in. Trinidad, for example, last night, early this morning, we had some of that working by, sliding by. Same thing, Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Barbados and St. Lucia at times yesterday and last night. Some rain and storms around. This is on the south side. Here's Dominica. Get over toward Martinique here, watching out for some heavy areas of rain with this. Now, as we get a look here, this is the outlook, the track of this. This is going to kind of curl to the west-northwest, make that turn, and then be very close to Bermuda by the time we get into the upcoming weekend. After that, it's going to be very close to the Atlantic region of Canada. So it's kind of a wait and see. That would be down the road into next week. But the Atlantic region of Canada, it will be moving closer at that point. I'll show you that with the expanded model, the European model, in a moment. Now, as far as the track goes, just to kind of zoom down to give you a feel, that tropical storm, it is sitting right on top of us. Guadeloupe, Montserrat. Now, it's bigger than this. Is just an icon. It is bigger than this. So for example, as this rolls up toward the British and U.S. Virgin Islands, this storm is a lot wider. So we're going to have the impacts as well. Our western sections of Puerto Rico, a little bit more though in the east and across the over towards St. Croix in particular. But you can see all of this moving in and wrapping in the rain and storms. You see the center will be south of Anguilla, St. Martin and St. Bart's, but we're going to see that rain moving in as we go throughout the day. And then this will strengthen and lift north by the time we get into tomorrow, and as it does, it'll continue to strengthen and then be very close to Bermuda. Now, as far as Bermuda goes, it really depends on when it makes these turns to kind of dictate what happens down the road, and then I'll be watching over toward Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. More on that in a moment. Let's just talk about the impacts. I want to get the important information out first. I've made subtle tweaks to this, not really big changes to this map over the last several days, which is good. So this has been really on track the last, I think, 3 to 4 days since I've been showing you this map. Now, these are the peak sustained winds. I'm going on the high side here because it is strengthening, and it could strengthen a little bit more than what a lot of the forecasts are showing. So I just want you prepared. You can see those winds that we're still going to have anywhere from St. Lucia through Dominica today, 70 kilometers an hour or 45 miles per hour. Gusty or Montserrat and Guadeloupe, that's what we have now in those rain bands. Watching out for that flood potential, but those gusty winds of about 80 kilometers an hour, 45 miles per hour, 70 kilometers an hour. Antigua and Bermuda, same thing. Anguilla, St. Martin, and St. Bart's, not a constant thing, just as some of those rain bands work in. About 60 miles per hour, 95 kilometers an hour, Saba, Statia, St. Kitts and Nevis, very close to Montserrat, and the winds will be higher than that. The British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, especially eastern Puerto Rico, winds could be as high as about 70 miles per hour or 110 kilometers an hour tonight and through the first half of tomorrow. Now, this is a huge concern. This is the rain that is moving in. This is the chart I show you on kind of a typical day. Some of these colors are off the chart. So you see here, this black shading that's kind of showing up with this white shading, that's almost all of us, especially central and eastern Puerto Rico. As you get over toward San Juan, we're talking about some of the rainfall amounts upwards of about 150 millimeters or 6 inches of rain. 6 to 9 inches of rain is a good bet in eastern Puerto Rico, and as we well know, just a few inches of rain can cause some big problems with the power grid. So again, very heavy rain. We're taking those preparations to stay safe with that. And then as we get towards St. Croix and then lifting up towards St. John, St. Thomas, Tortola, British and U.S. Virgin Islands, that same potential 100 millimeters to 150 millimeters of rain or 4 to 6 inches of rain. I have both scales up here. Could be higher in some spots. If this just kind of nudges a little bit more to the east, we could have some totals upwards of 9 inches of rain in parts of the Virgin Islands. Watching out for flooding. I'll be going through your comments. Please leave your comments safely as we go throughout the day, but thank you for putting the updates. Put your location, what you got going on or not going on with this system. Now, as far as looking down the road, of course, this is on top of us for some of us right now. Heavier rain bands, Guadalupe, this is sitting on top of us this morning, but looking down the road, Puerto Rico, British Virgin Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, it is best for safety's sake to be in place by sunset. So we're kind of making those preparations tonight, right? Getting everything ready, and then you kind of want to be where you need to be for this storm tonight. So you're kind of sleeping where you want to be for the storm tomorrow. We'll have heavy weather working in tonight into tomorrow. I'll show you that model in a second. Let me cover the rain aspect of this and brought it out. I covered this. I zoomed down here because that's where the core of some of the heaviest rain is going to move, but still anywhere from Guadalupe and right on the edge of Dominica, although most of this rain has at least a heavy batch has just moved to the west. We're going to see some very heavy rain in this core, but in these bands, even Anguilla and Antigua and Barbuda, we could get an additional 100 millimeters or 4 inches of rain in addition to what some of us already had. Now on the tail end of it, it's going to be a little spottier for the rest of today, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad, where we could get some spots getting a couple inches of rain or 75 millimeters of rain will be a potential. Some of that has shifted off from Trinidad, pulling off toward the west this morning. Now here's a closer look, northeastern Caribbean first, then we'll get into our southern sections. Here's Puerto Rico, here's Statia, heavy weather again, Guadalupe, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda at times. Now this is tonight, right around midnight tonight, heavy weather working in to the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico tonight. Very strong winds. They could be gusting up to 70 miles per hour or even sustained at 70 if this thing does get stronger sooner. Tomorrow morning, this brighter color showing the intense rain. This is life-threatening flooding amounts, life-threatening rain. Anytime you're talking over half a foot of rain, we've got some big problems. Now, by tomorrow afternoon, the core of this will lift to the north and it will strengthen. We'll still see some rain bands later in the day tomorrow. The winds are still going to be gusty tomorrow, but again, really tonight and the first half of tomorrow, that's when we'll have some of the worst weather moving in. And you can see the core of it here. This is the wind map, kilometers an hour and miles per hour. On this map, both of those scales right there. Here's Statia. This is going to be right on top of Statia and St. Kitts and Nevis by about 5 o'clock today. As a tropical storm, that white shading winds right around 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers an hour. Then it moves right through the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and parts of Puerto Rico. It could be over here a little bit, or it could be a little over here. But I mentioned this is a big area. This you saw on the satellite. It's not one little point. It's a big system. So this will be pulling through with those gusty winds. Could get upwards of about 70 miles per hour in Puerto Rico and then lifting to the north. And you see more reds popping up here. By the time we get into tomorrow, as this lifts to the north, it'll start to form, or it could be a hurricane at that point. It'll start to get stronger, but still that southerly flow. The winds are still going to be gusty, British, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico pretty much all day tomorrow before settling down some tomorrow night. The south side of this, and then I'll show you that big view. Here's Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, down through Trinidad. It's just going to be some of those rain bands today. In those, some squallier weather, but then this will start to work away as we go throughout the day today and tonight, and this is by tomorrow morning with most of the action sitting up to the north. So let's start big, and then I want to show you the steering conditions for down the road with this too as it intensifies into a hurricane. But you can see it's not one point. This is a big blob that is moving in. We've got a tropical storm that will be on top of us tonight in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and then lifting to the north. Here's that front by Bermuda. Bermuda, we've had some rain around. That's not associated with Ernesto, but this rain around is going to help to lift this to the north. Now, the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, trying to watch everyone best I can. All indications are this will stay off to the east. Any changes, I'll let you know. But I'm watching the Turks and Caicos, the Dominican Republic, looking like it'll stay to the east. But as we work our way into the weekend, we could have a powerful system nearby Bermuda. It depends on when it takes the turn to see kind of what happens up toward Bermuda. But either way, one thing I am certain about is that this is going to be a powerful system. So with that said, we need to start taking some of those preparations. I'll zoom down into Bermuda in just a moment. But here it is. Here are the steering conditions. And let's go long term. Here's the Atlantic region of Canada. Here's this area of high pressure. That's the blocker. Just like what we were talking about, I think, a week ago together, that blocker has moved off. That gives us a window to go up to the north. Systems that are spinning like to go poleward. They like to go to the north. They find the path of least resistance. With high pressure moving away, this allows this to make that turn, and that front kind of helps grab it and lifts it up to the north. So just going out in time here, this is by the time we get into the upcoming weekend. Saturday night, Sunday morning, it is going to be very close or on top of Bermuda as potentially a Category 2 or Category 3 hurricane. It could become a major hurricane. There's really no reason here that it doesn't just continue to intensify. There's that area of high pressure, so that blocker is not in place. So this is going to be very close to Bermuda. For the east coast of the United States and as a whole for the Bahamas, we've got these fronts here that are kind of keeping this away. Then we get over toward Nova Scotia, back toward Newfoundland, of course watching New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island. This is going to be close. Just like Bermuda, it just depends on the trajectory, how, once it's near Bermuda, we'll know how close it's going to get to Newfoundland, and it will be pretty close though. So just a heads up, Atlantic region of Canada, 4 down the road for next week, watching this system very carefully. Now for Bermuda, in action mode, this is about a day or so earlier than what I would typically recommend. Bermuda, great folks in Bermuda that handle these storms so well, be it nor'easters or just winter storms. With that said, because of the fact it's going to be most likely near major hurricane strength, we need a little extra time. So I would go into action mode with at least initial preparations at this point in Bermuda, because Saturday into Sunday, there could be a very powerful hurricane that will be close, if not on top of Bermuda. And you see it all reflected here, those seas for our mariners. You know better than I do, those seas are going to be rocking. Look at these brighter colors, 6 meters plus. This is meters here, that's feet there. So we're looking at 20, 25 plus feet building. Here's Bermuda. I'll put my finger right near Bermuda. So will it kind of shoot out south of Bermuda, or will it go right into Bermuda? Wait and see, but all of the seas will be building. Even those swells working in over toward New England and the mid-Atlantic. This is on Saturday, and of course things will be increasing up toward the northern sections of the Atlantic. Now here's the tropical storm right now. There are the rain bands there. Heavier weather, Guadalupe, watching over toward Montserrat, Ceiba, and Statia. Then that all works its way toward Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. But I did want to show you this, scattered showers and storms here. Jamaica, we're looking at scattered showers and storms. No sign that this is going to shoot to the west near Jamaica. This is going to lift up to the north. So Ernesto is not coming to the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Cuba, even Haiti for that matter. Dominican Republic should basically all stay off toward the east, but watching those scattered showers and storms as we work our way into our Thursday forecast as the system will eventually lift up to the north. Eastern Pacific, few areas I'm watching, but no signs of immediate development there. Now the Atlantic region of Canada, watching the system to see how close it's going to get to Bermuda and how close it will get down the road. In the meantime, some scattered showers and storms around today. There's that front that is down to the south, but that's actually going to help to kind of pull it up to the north. This is on our Wednesday. Not a whole lot of action. May catch a couple showers here and there on Wednesday, and once again as we get into Thursday, another system back to the west. This one will be key to see how quick, if this moves in quicker, this will help us in the Atlantic region of Canada and help try to keep this away. But if this is slower, that could allow this area to kind of swing into our direction by the time we get into early next week. So Jamaica, we're looking at about a 40% chance of scattered showers and storms. Cayman Islands, about a 30 to 40% chance. 40 to 50% chance the next several days in Trinidad and Tobago. Today, we may still have a few rain bands, but a lot of that was last night and early this morning. Then we swing back toward Barbados. Still some rain bands possible as this system is gradually working away. St. Lucia, we're on the outlook for that. Grenada could get a couple rain bands, rain chance chance about 50% today, and about a 60% chance on the southern end of this, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Of course, Martinique, and then we get to the north, where we have some tropical storm conditions around. We've been getting some breaks, my last check, in Dominica, but we did have some of the heavier weather at times last night. Of course, dealing with this, sitting right on top of Guadeloupe. Ernesto impacting us today, Antigua and Bermuda. I was mentioning we could get some of those higher rain totals. Just watching where those rain bands set up, where they do. We have that mudslide potential in several spots. St. Kitts, Nevis, Montserrat watching that. Anguilla and St. Bart's watching that. Same thing, St. Martin, Sabin, Statia. It just depends on where those bands kind of wrap around. But please keep in mind, flooding, mudslides, and some gusty winds a potential. Of course, Puerto Rico, tonight into tomorrow, this will be trying to become a hurricane, a strengthening tropical storm moving in, and we'll have that tonight and tomorrow. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Bahamas, this action will be staying to the east, and it looks as of now close, but just to the east of the Turks and Caicos. Dominican Republic also close, but just off toward the east. 30 to 40% chance of a couple storms in Haiti, 40 to 50% chance of scattered showers and storms in Belize, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. Rain chance not too high, 20% chance tomorrow and on Thursday, and looking at about a 40% chance in Guyana. Suriname the next 3 days, about a 30% chance of isolated showers and storms. Cuba, a 30 to 40% chance, and about a 60% chance. Costa Rica and Panama still kind of active. Nicaragua, 40 to 50% chance, and about a 30 to 40% chance of seeing some rain in parts of Honduras. 60% chance of rain, Guatemala, El Salvador. 50 to 60% chance in Mexico City, looking at some scattered afternoon and evening storms. 40 to 50% chance the Yucatan Peninsula. 30% chance in northern Colombia. 30 to 40% chance in northern Venezuela. And in Bermuda, we have some rain around the next couple days with that front. All eyes on what's going on down to the south, and we are in action mode taking some of those initial preparations in case we have a major hurricane nearby in just about 3 to 4 days. So Ernesto, it is getting stronger as expected. It will. That very high flood threat. I mentioned those very high rain totals. I'll be sharing those images on Instagram, watching out for the mudslides, monitoring that turn to the north, and of course Bermuda on high alert, and we're monitoring this now in eastern Canada. So thank you for being part of this channel. Thank you for leaving your comments, the weather you have, or maybe the weather's nice. Put your location down. I'll get to those comments throughout the day. Please, please be safe, especially with the amount of water that this thing is dropping. I'm thinking of you going through this system. I'll be watching everything behind the scenes nonstop. If any big updates are needed, I will update you. But as of now, things are holding. Be safe during this storm. Thank you for joining me, and have a good rest of your day.